Do you have a star in the upper right-hand corner of your driver's license? If not, don't try to get in an airplane in 2020. In this video, we'll be discussing the Real ID program. Let's talk about it. Welcome everybody, it's Joe time. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe by clicking my face down there in the corner, and don't forget to ring that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. So what is this Real ID program all about? Well, according to the TSA website, it was passed by Congress way back in 2005. It was enacted by the 9/11 Commissioner's recommendation that the federal government should have, and this is a quote, standards for the issuance of sources of identification such as driver's licenses. So what they were striving to do was get some consistency among all of the 50 states. It's amazing that it took this long considering that it was enacted way back in 2005. That's 15 years. Now, I just got my Real ID compliant license. What did I have to do? Well, according to the government, and I did a little research before I headed down to the DMV, I needed something to have my full legal name, my date of birth, social security number, 2 proofs of address and principal residence, and lawful status. So, what did I take down with me? Full legal name, I had my prior driver's license, and I also had my passport. Date of birth, that was on my driver's license. Social security number. Boy, it's been a long time since my social security card was issued to me way back when I was a young teenager. I don't even know if I could find it anymore, but it is on my tax information. So I think I took a W-2 form or something like that with me. 2 proofs of address of principal residence. I, once again, had my previous driver's license or my current driver's license at the time. And with my tax bill, that also had my address on it. And lawful status, well, that was a passport. So those are the 3 things that I took with me when I went to get my Real ID compliant driver's license. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, the driver's license is pretty simple. If you go down to your Department of Motor Vehicles and you have these documents, you can now get yourself a license that is Real ID compliant. Now, if your license already has a star, you have nothing to worry about. However, if it doesn't, you might have to bring a few additional things with you. The final enforcement date for Real ID compliance is October 1st of this year, 2020. Once October 1st comes, if you do not have a Real ID, you cannot use your driver's license as identification when you go through security at the airport. Are there other things you can use? Yes, there are, and we'll get to that in just a minute. First, I'd like to share my experience with you. I did not have a Real ID compliant driver's license, and I knew I would need it. And rather than wait 8 or 9 months, I had some time off and I wasn't traveling during the holidays, so I thought I would go in and see if I could get this taken care of. And as I said, I took these things with me, my driver's license, my passport, some tax information that had all of my information on, my social security number, my address. I took all of that with me. It's a beautiful winter day here in Wisconsin, and I'm on my way to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get my Real ID compliant driver's license. I'm waiting for my turn, and look at this. They put a time when you started. So we'll see how long this process takes me. The DMV now has advertising up on their waiting room sign. That was kind of weird. I did not get my Real ID compliant license, but for a good reason. First of all, let me say kudos to Wisconsin Department of Transportation because, DMV, I'm sorry. I don't want to reward the wrong people. Because they got me in and out in like less than 15 minutes. That was including filling out the application, getting my picture taken, the whole ball of wax. But what he said was, my license renews in just a little over a year. On your birthday is when it expires. My birthday is in 6 days. So he said, we could do it now, but then sometime in the next year I'd have to do it again just to make sure that I had a current license when it expires. He also said there is a 1-year window that you can renew prior to your birthday. I thought that's crazy. I didn't realize that you can renew with an entire year. So rather than do it now and then just have to come back again sometime before my birthday next year, I will just wait 6 days and then come back and do it. And then I will not only have my Real ID compliant license, but I will also be renewed for whatever the expiration period is for my next driver's license. So that's the situation. Well, I'm back. I have my birthday, so we're at the DMV for the second time to get my license updated.
20 minutes later.
I'm all done at the DMV. All told, it took me about 20 minutes. I'll head back home and I'll tell you more about it. How do you know if your license is Real ID compliant? As I said, there will be a star, either a gold star, a black star, or a gold or black circle. For some reason, California has their star inside a bear, which is a California state animal. There has to be one in every crowd, right? But that's how you know if you already have a Real ID compliant driver's license. Now, what happens if you or your child shows up after October 1st and you don't have a Real compliant ID? Well, the children do not have to worry about it. This is just for people traveling over the age of 18. If you as an adult present a driver's license and it's not Real ID compliant, you're not going to get through. TSA is not going to accept it. But don't worry, sit tight, because I'm going to go through a list of things that are supported and are accepted as alternatives to Real ID. Some people have been asking, now once I get this, will I still need my passport? Well, if you are traveling internationally, yes, you still need your passport. This does not replace a passport or any other document in order to travel outside of the country. But let's look at things that we can substitute. Now, there's a long list here, so I actually printed this out from the TSA website just to make sure I got this all right. I don't have a Real ID compliant license. How am I going to get on a plane? Here are all the other things that you can use that are acceptable substitutes for Real ID. First, you have a U.S. passport or a U.S. passport card. Now, I don't know if you know what a passport card is. I don't have one because I don't see the need for duplication. Sometimes if people are only going back and forth to Canada and they're just going over the ground border, they're not flying, you can get by with just the passport ID. It's like a little card. It looks like a driver's license. A DHS trusted traveler card like Global Entry, Nexus, Sentry, or Fast. I do have Nexus, so I have a Nexus card. So I guess technically, if I didn't have my driver's license, my Nexus card would still work. I only use that when I'm traveling to and from Canada. So normally if I'm traveling domestically, I don't have that with me. A permanent residence card, a border crossing card, a state-issued enhanced driver's license. There's a lot of stuff here, isn't there? Federally recognized tribal-issued photo ID. So if you have a tribal ID, that will work in lieu of a Real ID driver's license. Foreign government-issued passport. HSPD 12 PIV card, I have no idea what that is. Canadian Provincial Driver's License or Indian and Northern Affairs Canada card. So Canadian drivers, of course, we cannot control Real ID for a foreign country, so we do accept that. Transportation Worker Identification Credential, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Employment Authorization Card. Not sure what that is, but it says in parentheses there, the I-766. Or a U.S. Merchant Mariner credential, which I think is kind of interesting, isn't it? If you're a U.S. Merchant Marine and you have a credential, that will work. So the upshot is, although there are a lot of alternatives, the easiest thing is just get yourself one of these Real IDs. After October 1st of 2020, I suspect every driver's license is going to support it, but I am not sure. Because when you get a driver's license, do you need all of these things? I suppose at some point you do. You have to know your full legal name, date of birth, social security number, proof of address, and lawful status. So I suppose when you're initially getting a driver's license, that's probably going to happen automatically and naturally. But make sure you check with your own state DMV or whatever they call the Department of Motor Vehicles in your state. As always, I encourage you to like and share these videos. If you have any questions about Real ID, leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them, or go to the TSA website, tsa.gov. As always, I'm going to ask, if you're not subscribed, click my face in the corner to subscribe, or ring the bell icon up above. That way you'll know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Mark with Mark's Travel Time.